Jaylen Brown on his Twitch stream reacted to Stephen A. Smith apologising to Kyrie for when he criticised Kyrie for not taking the COVID vaccine.
This is something I just wanted to...
What's good, everybody? Hope y'all are doing well. Listen to this. Jaylen Brown recently reacted on his Twitch stream after Stephen A. Smith publicly apologized to Kyrie Irving for the criticism he received over choosing not to take the COVID vaccine. The moment immediately caught people's attention because it brought one of the biggest NBA controversies back into the spotlight. Now, fans are debating whether Stephen A.'s apology changes the conversation or if it's simply too little, too late. Either way, Jaylen Brown didn't hesitate to share his thoughts, and we're about to break down exactly what he had to say. Let's get into it.
Jaylen Brown on his Twitch stream reacted to Stephen A. Smith apologising to Kyrie for when he criticised Kyrie for not taking the COVID vaccine.
This is something I just wanted to give context to. I know me and Stephen A. have not seen eye to eye, but this was something that caught my attention, and I wanted to at least respond and react to it. You know, I didn't see the whole video clip. I only saw it was a small clip, but I wanted to share it here on stream to actually give him some credit for doing this. So even though me and Stephen A. had, hey, we ain't seen eye to eye, you know what I mean? And I'm smacked in the back of the head, but I give him some credit for this.
In my opinion, particularly hindsight-wise, it didn't make him stubborn or selfish. It made him brave for his willingness to stand up and say, nah, I'm not doing that.
Like, I don't know if he did that on his own merit or somebody told him to do that, but obviously to give context, Kyrie Irving, a couple years ago, refused to get the vaccine in the state of New York. The state of New York said all employers or whatever had to, therefore he wasn't able to play basketball for a large amount of that season, which affected like millions of dollars. He lost sponsorships, he lost his Nike endorsement, and then forget the money, like the people who like said all these things about Kyrie and his character, and you know, even probably people close to him. I couldn't even imagine about how that experience probably went, because all of the stuff that was, you know, obviously there's, you know, things that happened medically that, you know, affected the United States, but also was some misinformation that was going on. And then during the trial, Dr. Fauci pleaded the fifth on everything. So it just leaves speculation to like how we evaluated, you know, some of the stuff, what was real and what wasn't. But for Stephen A. to respond and actually apologize to someone who was, his career changed, his pockets changed, people to face his character, even though, you know, obviously this is going around, like giving the apology. I know maybe some of you have seen it, but imagine going through that. Imagine losing hundreds of millions of dollars for what you believe in. Imagine losing endorsements. Nike dropped them. You know, that's when I responded, like, since when did Nike care about ethics, right? Imagine these companies and these things that just completely, you know, blackballed or, you know, dropped Kyrie. The Nets made him, they gave a list of demands for him based upon, it was just, you know, I thought this was, for Stephen A. to even say that and issue an apology, I will give him some credit for that, but he was one of the people, if not one of the main proprietors that was saying these things. But the apology is never as loud as the vindication. So I just wanted to give, you know, to react to this. Obviously, I know that was a long time ago, but that was a very, very important and controversial time in the US, the vaccination stuff that other athletes and other people had to go through as well. And so many people behind closed doors, you know, because of like work mandates and things like that, that didn't want to do it, or didn't feel like they had to. And there's some people that did it willingly so. I'm not giving you what was the right or wrong here, but just somebody for making up. I'm just pointing out for someone that made a decision for themselves as a human being, for them to be, you know, for them to face those level of consequences, I felt were severe. And he lost money, endorsements, for something he should have his it's in his rights to be able to make those decisions behalf on his own decision and his own medical. But at that time, it was a violation of that. So shout out to Kyrie Irving, sending love, respect, and blessings to him.
Looking back at this entire situation, it's clear that this conversation is about more than just basketball. It's about how quickly public opinion can form, how powerful media narratives can become, and what happens when history causes people to reevaluate those moments years later. What makes Jaylen's reaction interesting is that he didn't spend his time attacking Stephen A. Smith. Instead, he acknowledged the apology while also pointing out how much had already happened before that apology ever arrived. That's an important distinction. Saying "I was wrong" matters, but it doesn't automatically erase everything that happened in the meantime. At the same time, it's also worth recognizing that public apologies are rare, especially from people with major platforms. Whether someone agrees with Stephen A.'s original comments or not, admitting that your earlier assessment may have been unfair isn't something we see every day. For a lot of public figures, that's a difficult thing to do. The bigger takeaway, though, is how one decision can completely reshape an athlete's career. During that period, Kyrie Irving wasn't just being discussed for his basketball ability. Every interview, every headline, and every television debate seemed to revolve around one topic. Fair or unfair, that became the defining story surrounding him for a long stretch of time. Jaylen's comments also highlight something fans often forget. Professional athletes aren't just performers on the court, they're also people making personal decisions that can carry enormous consequences. Once those decisions become national headlines, the conversation often grows far beyond basketball, and that's exactly what happened here. Years later, people continue to debate whether the criticism was justified, whether the consequences were too severe, or whether history has changed the way that entire situation should be viewed. Those questions still divide fans, analysts, and even former players today. One thing almost everyone can agree on is that this moment became one of the most controversial chapters of Kyrie Irving's career, and it changed the way many people viewed both the player and the media coverage surrounding him. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Stephen A.'s apology was enough considering everything that happened? Or do you believe some situations leave a lasting impact that an apology simply can't undo? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the discussion respectful, because this is one of those topics where people continue to have very different perspectives.